Welcome to this next episode of Capital Academy. Capital Academy is all about providing information for early stage and startup companies as they're considering their path of building and growing their business, but especially as they're thinking about how they'll capitalize the business. Well, on today's episode of Capital Academy, we have back with us, by popular demand, Demet Anagnos you are the principal of ResultsCFO.
Correct. Thank you.
And we have Dr. Angela Pitts, who is with us. And Angela has an exciting project she's about to take off on that I won't try to summarize it because she'll let us know what's going on. And so to start, we're just going to jump in and ask Angela, please talk to us about what it is that you're looking to do.
What I am looking to do is to take my years of experience. I've been an optometrist for over 20 years, and I see some pain points that I would like to fix. And one of the pains I see are, especially for the busy business professional, taking time out of their busy schedule to come get their eyes checked. They've got to leave their office, drive over to the office where the eye doctor is, find a place to park, go in and wait, fill out paperwork, wait to see the doctor. Then after they see the doctor, then they got to go through the whole picking out glasses. And it usually takes a couple of hours out of their day. And most busy business professionals don't have that kind of time. So they don't get their eyes checked until it's a desperate situation.
So what are we going to do? We're going to mail our eyes to you? I'd love to understand how you solve this problem.
Well, I would like to solve that problem by, instead of the busy business professional coming to me, I go to the busy business professional. And that way, instead of it taking several hours of their time, my goal is to take less than an hour of their time, to give them comprehensive, convenient, customized eye care and eyewear, all within less than an hour, right there in their office.
Wow.
Interesting.
That sounds very exciting. Okay, so talk to us. Where are you in your stage currently?
Well, I've been an eye doctor for years. I got that part down, but one thing I am learning more about is the frame industry, because that part I don't know as much about. So I've done research on a lot of different frame companies, and I found a frame company that actually customizes frames. So I've been learning about that, and I've been starting to sell frames to people and letting them know that you don't have to just pick one frame in one color. You can pick, if you decide you want your frame to be red in the front and orange on the sides, you can do that. And so it's pretty exciting to have an option for people to have customization. So I'm learning about that part of the business, so that's one thing I've been doing. I also have been doing, on the side, been doing eye exams, going to various offices, or even people who are at home and doing exams at homes or offices, just to get a feel for if that's something people like and they want. And it is something that people seem to really like and want. And I've done some surveys to find out, and overwhelmingly people would like that option of people not having to go to the eye doctor, have the eye doctor come to them.
I think that's interesting. Now we're not talking about doctors doing house visits. We're talking about eye doctors doing house visits.
We're going backwards in time, when doctors made house calls, and and now they're coming back to us as the patient. So it's a very interesting concept. You said that you've already started doing some of these on-site visits or on-site examinations. I know, or I think I know, that there's a lot of equipment that's needed. So how are you doing that without are you have the backpack that has when I go to the eye doctor, are you taking those types of equipment with you, or can you do the exam without that?
Some of the equipment the big equipment that you see, some of that equipment has been scaled down to small mobile size. And so, so basically everything that is done in an eye doctor's office and the great big equipment that's sitting there beside you in the chair is compact. So there is mobile eye exam that could be done.
And you have that equipment already?
I have some of the equipment. I don't have all of the equipment I need. I've been working to get towards getting all of the handheld equipment. My ultimate goal is to have an actual eye exam on wheels as opposed to the handheld, because even though they do have the handheld equipment, it is not as accurate and not as good as the 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 equipment that is
The standard
the
size.
standard size. It's okay, but it's not ideal. The ideal thing is to be able to have a full eye exam lane that moves. And that's my goal, is to have the full eye exam lane that moves in a mobile
You
vehicle.
just kind of answered the question I was going to ask. So then how do you get it mobile? And so you're looking at utilizing vehicles.
Yes,
What type of vehicle?
It's very much like an RV.
Okay.
It's very much like an RV. There's a company that customizes what you want. And there's various sizes that you can get them done in, something not much bigger than a van all the way up to a semi, depending on what all you want to have done. And they customize it to what you want and what you need. And it's basically just like an eye exam office that you would go, an eye doctor's office. You get an eye exam just like you would in a regular office, but it's on wheels and it pulls up in front of the office and you walk into it.
Are you looking at doing this as a solo practitioner, or are you looking to grow this out where you're working with other practitioners in doing this mobile
I'm looking to grow it. It's not something I just want to do myself and that's it. It's something that I would like to get one and then get another and have different doctors do it in different areas. That's my goal.
And I don't necessarily like using the term putting in anyone's head always franchising, but do you have a thought process of how you're looking at it?
I actually do. In fact, that's part of my goal. Not only is there a pain point for the patients that I would be able to solve with this, but there's also a pain point for the doctors, especially doctors who are parents, especially mothers. It is very frustrating to be an eye doctor and be a mother, because the busiest time in any eye doctor's office is evenings and weekends. When does a mother need to be at home? Evenings and weekends.
Gotcha.
So my goal with this is to also have a place for mothers especially, but there are men also, but especially mothers who would like to be able to go to work only during work hours and then come home in the evenings and be with their family and the weekends be with their family. So I also have a target for who the doctors would be, and that would especially be mothers who would like to have more time with their families.
Well, that also would play in with the fact that you're going to the business professional's office, because it'll be during the work day.
During the work day, exactly.
So, a couple questions that I would have, if I may jump in,
please.
Is more on the financial side. So, the first question I have is, do you know how much it costs to equip one of these vehicles?
Yes.
So you have the cost of that.
Yes.
And you have and that includes the cost of the vehicle.
Yes.
And roughly what is that, if you?
Yeah, the cost, and it varies. Like I said, you can get it from a small to a large, but in the neighborhood of $200,000.
Okay. And that includes
the equipment and the vehicle.
Okay.
But there's some variation depending on if you want a smaller vehicle or a larger vehicle, but in the neighborhood of about $200,000.
Okay, and are those vehicles able to be leased, or do you have to buy them outright?
You purchase them.
So you have to purchase them, and you go get a loan, just like you would a car, but they're not leasable. Okay. So
can I just ask one question, and for you
Absolutely.
to go right back to where you are?
It's customized.
No,
Right.
My only question there is, how much does it cost to open a brick and mortar?
Yeah, that's where I was going next. You
Okay.
took the words right out of my mouth.
That would a lot depend on your location, but I've looked at that, and just to get the location is going to be more than that, and not including all the equipment and all that. So it is a lot less expensive than starting.
That's why I wanted
Yeah,
to ask
exactly. That's where I was going with it,
It is.
because
It
there's. This is probably going to be a wave of the future. You're going to see more of this. You see more of it in all industries.
In all
I mean,
industries,
I'm driving
exactly.
down the street and I see veterinarians.
Vets.
I even see dog groomers.
Dog
That's
groomers,
correct.
car
I've
washes.
seen it.
Exactly, detailing and all that.
Right.
So this is definitely, I believe, a wave of the future. And it also allows less in infrastructure costs for a health practitioner, because they probably already have debt coming out of school.
Right.
So this is a way that you could bring in even younger, less experienced healthcare practitioners, optometrists into the fold, and they would either be working for you or working with you, or you sell them a turnkey operation. There's a lot of pros and cons with each of those avenues. But the key is that you have to get more of a proof of concept, I would believe, especially if you're going to be looking for funding from others, and that's more along Lorette's area of expertise. Mine is more the day-to-day operational side and being able to figure out a way how to monetize this, how to price it, and where you can bootstrap it and where you don't need to, or where you shouldn't bootstrap it. So the question is, how quickly do you want to grow? And do you have the infrastructure in place to be able to grow at the rate that you want to?
For the beginning of what you were talking about is, it made it sound like you wondered if anybody else is doing this, and the answer to the question is yes, there is. When I first thought about it years ago, there was no one doing it, but within the last 2 years, there is another company that is targeting the busy business professional, and they have only been in business for 3 years, and they're already in 3 different cities.
Okay.
So they have grown very quickly, and are profitable, and they're very profitable.
And along the same lines that Demet was asking, and you brought up the fact that they are profitable.
Yes.
What are you looking at by way of how many units? So I understand you've completed your business plan.
Right.
Talk to us about the profitability for how you set out your business plan, along with how you're looking to grow into what it is that you're doing. Because I want to understand from vehicle to vehicle versus from vehicle to bringing others on board with vehicles.
Okay. The way it's set up is that because there's going to be a flow, very much like a regular eye doctor's office, the patient will start out with pre-testing, then they see the doctor, and then they pick out the frames. And the way we will be using the top of the line equipment, so it'll be very streamlined. So the pre-testing should take approximately 15 minutes. The time with the doctor will take approximately 15 minutes. The time choosing the frame would be approximately 15 minutes. And we've got some innovative ways of choosing the frame that's going to be outside of the box for customizing, where we're going to have it set up so that a person will be able to see their frames on a computer screen, and they will be able to interact live on Facebook or whatever social media to get input from their friends and family. Do you like this frame on me? So to make that a little bit easier and quicker. So we have that set up so that we'll be able to get 4 patients an hour. And so if you're there for an 8-hour day, you could, and we're looking at.
But there's going to be travel time, because you're going to go to one professional and then you go to another professional. I mean, the whole idea is to get to them. Unless you are in an office building where you have a number of patients already, you're going to have to go, the van's going to have to,
We're planning to do both. We're planning to do both. Some and have it set up on different days where we'll pick a large company, which there's several of them, that headquarters that have like thousands of people. And so that's one option, is to go to a company that's got a lot of different employees there and set outside, and you can get people in. So that's one of the targets that we're looking at. And then the other is to go to more individual places as well. So you'd have a balance of going to different offices as well as going to one location.
And what does your marketing look like? How are you getting the big corporations, as well as how are you getting your smaller companies? How are you getting them interested in signing up for you to be there? How does that part work?
Well, go out and talk to the, if you're trying to get a large company, go out and talk to the HR and talk to them about it being a perk that you can offer to your employees. Your employees would do a lot better if you know that their eyes are good, especially since so many companies, everybody works on a computer, and computers are really hard on the eyes. And offer it as a perk to employees.
And not only that, I don't mean to interrupt, but not only that, it's also the time. If they have a company of 20 people and 10 people have to go to an optometrist once a year, if you're saying it's going to take a half a day, that's loss of productivity. This way, if they're just in and out in an hour, there's less loss of productivity. So it's not only just the pitch that it's a perk to the business, but it's also, to the employees, but it's also a perk to the business because of productivity and efficiency purposes.
And you know that they can see.
Well, exactly. Outside of that aspect,
Because if they can't see it,
Right, they have to see the work.
To do the work. We're not robots. It's
like,
but I think that when you're going to put your marketing material together to go after these type of potential customers or centers of influence, for a different term to be used, you need to look at how is it going to affect the employee, how's it going to affect the business. You got it, because the business, you got to show the business what's in it for them.
What's in it for them, right.
But one thing that I'm hearing from you, and I like the enthusiasm, but at least in these initial stages of your growth, before you have the infrastructure into place, I think that you need to stay really narrowly focused on one of these types of revenue streams. So meaning, do I want to go to the individual law firm where I'm going to go meet with 1 or 2 lawyers, or do I want to go to an office building and have maybe 20 or 30 clients in that office building, or patients in that office building, or go, and then day 2, go to a large company where you're on site in their parking lot, on their campus, and that you're working with all of their employees, where it's, so if you stay focused in one of those areas, and I would probably, if I was advising you, I would probably go for the bigger one first, for proof of concept, best opportunity to make the most amount of money in a shorter period of time of work, and then you use that money to reinvest in yourself, to start marketing to bring it down to the smaller businesses. That's how I would probably go about doing it.
Along with what Demet's saying, I'm looking to focus you on how do you even begin that.
Yeah.
So you're currently an eye doctor and you're providing services for other doctors.
Right.
Though you do have the ability, i.e. some equipment, in order to be mobile to some degree. I'd like to hear, so what is your plan to do that where you're now moving off and you're independent to build enough resources or reserves to then actually get your mobile unit? How do you move from where you are right now to get to the point that you have your first mobile unit? Is that just vehicle or something in between? Or is that part of what and how you're trying to raise your initial capital in order to get started? So I'd like to understand, where are you in that process?
I am looking to get some more of the mobile equipment, the handheld mobile equipment. Our equipment is rather expensive, but I am looking to get some more of the mobile equipment so that I can do a complete comprehensive exam without, as I am doing now, borrowing it from those that already have it. So I'm working to do that, and also I am, as I was saying before, selling frames. So those are the 2 things I'm doing towards getting my business to where I want to be. And also I've been talking to different people at some of these different corporations, I actually have a couple of letters of intent that says, once you're up and going, we would like to have you come to our business and do that.
So that brings, that's great. And that is, those letters of intent can be utilized and leveraged tremendously for you. My only concern, based on, again, what you just said, you said that the mobile equipment isn't as accurate. So
I would say not as accurate. It's just not as, it doesn't work as well.
Right.
Yeah,
so my thing is, why spend the money for this mobile equipment that is expensive? And it may only cost 25 or 30 or 40% of what a vehicle would cost with the right equipment.
Right.
I would tend to think, try to use these letters of intent as leverage to go to a lender and say, I want to buy this, because you're spending a little bit more now, but you're really getting your proof of concept. Every time you drive down the street in that vehicle,
advertising.
It's free advertising for you. There's going to be a lot of PR that you can do. Whereas if you're just sticking the mobile equipment in the back seat of your car or in the trunk of your car, nobody knows who you are on the street. So I think that you have a lot. The better play would be to potentially use, and again, I don't know anything about your numbers. I don't know if they're realistic, you know, especially on the expense side. And also on the revenue side. I mean, I don't know what you're thinking of charging, what the going rate for something like this would be, to add in the convenience factor of you going there, what your insurance is going to be, what problems you may have with parking. You may not be able, you know, you may be limited to the size of the vehicle that you're going to be able to bring into some of these places. So those are all things that need to be examined and analyzed and looked at. But I think that your best play would be to go forward with trying to get the vehicle, because your sizzle is that in all of this is the custom frames. But you can't get to that until you get the grunt stuff done, the mundane, the stuff that nobody really likes doing, the eye exam. You can't get to that stage, but it'll be a good thing for them to move, your patients to move through this process, this journey to get their customized frames, put it up on social media so that their friends can see it. And that also is free advertising for you too, because of the fact that you got all these people that are, they're giving you their center, their sphere of influence without you having to pay for it, with them paying you for their sphere of influence.
And that was the thinking behind it, is that we're offering it to the patient as this is something that's good for you because you're getting your friends involved, but we also know in the back it's good for us too.
So we're about to wind down on this episode. I'd like to, in closing, I'd like to hear from you. What is it that you need right now in order to get you to at least that next step of where you're looking to go in building out your business?
More of this kind of advice.
That's great. On Capital Academy, we love hearing that.
To make sure I'm going in the right direction. That's what I need more than anything is what I just got.
Well, you're a phone call away or an email away from me.
I mean, so that I will head in the right direction, because I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. I don't want to jump into it and then I did something wrong and then try to go backwards. And I want to make sure this is something that's been a part of me for 20 years, I would say. It's something that I've been dreaming about, and it's been evolving. And I want to make sure when it comes out, when I birth this, that it comes to a world where it's supposed to be. And getting this kind of advice is the best thing. It's priceless.
Thank you.
I couldn't have a better testimonial.
There's nothing more I can say.
Okay,
true.
I mean, I truly appreciate that, and I know Lorette does as well. But that's what Capital Academy is here for, and all the
academy.
That's right. That's right. And all the service providers that are here to help entrepreneurs, help concept companies, and help the business owner of the people that own these companies and have these ideas get to the next level, and so that they can experience the success of birthing their own idea and getting it out to the public. I mean, I think it's a great opportunity, and I think your idea is very good. It just needs to be fine-tuned and focused. I think you're on a wave. You're going to catch a nice little wave if you do it right. But you also need to understand that there's going to be, nothing is static. Everything changes. So you got to be able to be adaptable. You got to be able to be scalable. And there's ways to scale this in a very positive way for you financially and for the other healthcare practitioners that are going to be coming on board with you. This isn't something that'll just stop in this area. And the fact is, we were talking about earlier, having competition or having someone else in the field, especially that has deeper pockets, they're educating everybody to what you want. So they're doing all that education and awareness for you, and you can drop into the marketplace and take advantage of it.
And let me say, Angela, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about it. This is exactly what Capital Academy is founded on, bringing information to our audience, but making it real, making it tangible and something that everyone can work with. And by having entrepreneurs willing to share their story, is what helps to get it out there, because you're saying something that I'm sure somebody else is able to digest and utilize for what they do. So thank you so much. And I will say to everyone, make sure you look forward to the day that she's on our Pitch Me, when she's ready to then start bringing in the capital she's looking for. Demet, thank you so much for joining
Always
us
a pleasure.
again. And we will see you on the next episode of Capital Academy.